late 40s and says she's heard about the census on the radio but doesn't know when she needs to have it filled in by.
We'll be receiving a login through the mail to process our census applications for the whole family.
28-year-old Stephen Westwood lives in Ponsonby and says he's received the mail but doesn't know what to do with it.
I think we might have something on the fridge, but it sort of looks like it's been eaten by snails, but I'm not sure what it is exactly.
Phil Patridge is in his 40s and lives in Sandringham. He's also received his papers but worries about those who haven't.
Seen a bit of TV about it. The surprise for me was that it all needs to be done by March 6th. And I felt like people are only just getting the idea that it's happening.
Around 500,000 people have already managed to fill the census out online. The aim is to have around 70% of papers filled out online. 42-year-old Reuben Woods lives in Point Chevalier and says it took him around 30 minutes to fill everything in on behalf of his household of 2 adults and 2 children under 5.
I half expected it to be a bit longer and to draw a bit more detail, but I suppose I've got to find that balance between boring people to death and getting a decent chunk of data.
Statistics New Zealand says they've had online responses from all age brackets, with more online responses from people aged 65 and over than from people aged 15 to 25. This year's census includes questions about whether homes are damp and how they're heated. There's even a question about whether homes have working kitchen sinks. Mr Woods says that's useful information to have.
The quality of the housing stock and the gap between rich and poor and housing unaffordability and landlords versus those that don't own homes, they're all topical and important issues.
There have been delays in getting papers to Northland, West Coast, Tasman and Gisborne areas due to Cyclone Gita, but Statistics New Zealand says they are expected to be there by Tuesday. Census teams are working with hotels, hospitals and camping grounds, as well as remote rural areas and places with homeless populations, to make sure everyone participates. Mō te hōtaka o te atanei, ko Nita Blake Persona Ho.
Well, 7:17 now. Around 500,000 people have already completed the census online, but there are concerns that the elderly or those without access to computers will have trouble being counted, and stories of people in remote parts of the country being unaware that it's census time at all. Well, people in some parts of the country say they're yet to receive the access numbers needed to be counted. Earlier on Morning Report, we spoke to Hilary Sumpter. She manages the Kerikeri Retirement Village.
We're a village of about 180 people, and I guess 100 people do not have their access codes up here. And half of Northland seems to be missing out. It's certainly not just us. We tried just to order 100 forms and were told we had to have the access code, so that didn't work at all.
She's unimpressed with how the census has been organised.
Statistics New Zealand just don't seem to have allowed for the fact that a lot of people aren't going to be able to access this online. They don't have access to a computer. They might be sight impaired, and the elderly who have hearing issues, so it doesn't seem to have been very well thought through at all.
What would you say to the people running the census?
Perhaps a little bit better organisation and communication, and right now they really need to sort out the people who are on the end of the phone, because every time we ring we get a different answer and we don't get any solutions.
Now that's Hilary Sumpter. She manages the Kerikeri Retirement Village. She was on Morning Report last hour. I have to say we're getting a flood of emails and texts coming into us here at Morning Report 2101 and Morning Report at radionz.co.nz, also at NZ Morning Report on Twitter. This one here, it just says, what a cock-up. Another one says, until this morning I didn't know the census was next week. Where do I get my code? This one just popping in. Census, what about people who don't have computers or internet access? Another one saying, the census. I completed mine after discovering that it wouldn't allow me to use Google Chrome as the browser. I then had to use Safari and had no problem. So that's an interesting one as well, just coming into us. Also, this person saying, I have had no census form or code. I haven't got a computer. How do I fill out the census? That one's from Brian. Well, with us now, the 2018 Census General Manager, Denise McGregor. She's in the Wellington studio. Good morning.
Kia ora.
Are you on track?
We are on track. So Census Day is the 6th of March, which is next Tuesday. We're still delivering in some areas access codes, but we still expect everyone to have a code by the 6th of March.
Isn't that a little bit last minute?
If they haven't got an access code by the 6th of March, we'll enable them after that. They can ring in and ask for paper, and if they want to fill it in after the 6th of March, that's fine as well.
Well, we've heard people, though, saying that they've already been ringing up asking for paper forms because they haven't got access to the internet, or they'd rather, for whatever reason, fill it out on paper. And people being told you can't get a paper form unless you've got a code.
It's when you ring up our call centre, if you have your access code, like in any call centre, like a booking number reference or those sorts of things, that makes it quick and easy for us to get the address and do things quickly. But people can wait or press 2 for an operator and talk to someone and really get information like that way, if that's what they want to do.
But you're talking about an automated phone line here, aren't you?
We're talking about talking to a person if you press 2 or if you wait.
But for some people, they have trouble with the phone, don't they?
Some people may have trouble with the phone, and that's why we're
trying
to do all sorts of things we can to help people. So there's lots of material available. Our field staff will be out in the field helping people in and around Census Day, and we have materials available in different accesses and different ways. We have screen readers on our forms, for example, for the blind, and we've been working with those organisations to try and help people.
But we're getting widespread reports of people not having their access codes. Sometimes it's, for example, in several parts of the country that don't seem to have got them, but also even within areas. For example, Hilary Sumpter, who we spoke to earlier at the Kerikeri Retirement Village, some people have had their codes and some people haven't.
That's right, because there are different strategies for different types of dwellings. So some people have been mailed out to, and mail happens very quickly. For some areas, we're delivering codes. And
why would it be different strategies across one retirement village?
I'll tell you that. So we're delivering to some areas. 80% of the country we mailed straight out to, and we did that from an address list that we created. For 20% of the country, we're delivering, and that's areas that might be, for example, remote, rural, where we want to go in there and help people more. It might be areas of high growth where we want to wait till the last minute to make sure we get every address. Areas with high holiday homes where we want to see what's occupied and what's not. So it's those sort of reasons for the 20% that we're delivering to.
I don't understand how that would be the case across one retirement village in a small town.
In Northland, in the far north, for example, we're doing what we call a full enumeration. So we'll be visiting and bringing paper and codes in the way we always have for the far north, recognising the remoteness.
When you say bringing paper, do you mean bringing paper forms?
Yes. In the far north. In terms of Northland generally, Kaipara district is 3/4 enabled now. Whangarei is over 80%. So there is a lot of happening in Northland, and we will continue to deliver over the weekend, today and over the weekend, and we still hope to have everyone ready by the 6th of March.
This all seems very last minute for something that is not a surprise.
The mail out went out from the 23rd of February. That's 3 weeks ahead of Census Day.
But you're saying you're going to be delivering right up to the day and saying to people, look, if it doesn't happen on the day, it's fine, you can do it afterwards.
It's only in some areas where we're still delivering, and we're still saying that we believe that everyone will be enabled by the 6th of March. So we're still comfortable that that's going to happen, and we're doing our best to make that happen.
But it does seem that there is a problem here, simply from the volume of text that I'm looking coming in on my computer as we're talking to each other right now. It does seem that this is not just a small problem.
We've now had...
So the situation here would appear to be quite serious, and I'm not sure necessarily that that's a message that's got back yet to the organisers.
We are tracking things by the hour. Tracking both our ability
and
to get people ready, and we are on track.
So you expected it to be like this?
We're also tracking responses. We have 500,000 responses in now.
Okay.
And a lot of emails from people saying how easy it is to do the internet.
It feels very last minute. Are you telling me that it was actually always meant to go like this?
We knew that our delivery would take longer than the mail out. Mail goes out very quickly. And delivery and going to places takes a little bit longer. So there have been some delays in some parts of the country because of weather, and in other parts for remoteness. And that's why we have different strategies in different areas to help those areas that are a bit different.
Are you in trouble here?
We're confident. We've got 500,000 forms in. That's well above our expected rate at this point.
Thank you very much for your time. That's Denise McGregor there, the 2018 Census General Manager. Some more feedback that's been coming in as we've been speaking here. This one from Sarah saying, just hearing now for the first time about the census. I haven't received a code. This one says, we rang from our community English as a second language programme and put some of our lower level English speakers on the line to get the point across that we needed forms posted out to us to help them, and we got very little satisfaction. This one in from Pam, someone else asking the question, what do you do if you lose the access code? Someone else saying, we've only realised that the census was due on the 6th of March because of the report this morning. We've not received our letters. We've assumed they would turn up. Have just gone online and requested a letter. I've been notified that it'll take at least a week for delivery. I think there has been a big mistake somehow.
Yeah, and just finally on this for the moment, I've just had an email in from the Island Child Charitable Trust, New Zealand in Glen Innes in Auckland. They say we've got 6 families here at the Child Charitable Trust and we've had no census info or code at all. So there's feedback piling in on this issue. There does seem to be a lot of concern and interest out there. So we'll keep you up to date with that as we move through over the next hour and a half or so. Just a quick check-in on the traffic before we move on, because in Auckland there's a...